there, it's Kevin with RogueDeckBuilder.com, here with an updated list of cards that are not going to be reprinted in Modern Masters. So, if you are going to be picking up cards, you better pick these cards up quick, as they are going to be spiking in value. I'm also going to go over the reasonings why they will be spiking in value, what decks they're included in, what I think the projected value of these. Now, this is all speculation here. We don't know if Modern Masters 2 is going to have quite the impact that Modern Masters 1 had. What we saw with Modern Masters 1 is it brought a lot of people into the format, a format that was very much ignored until about Modern Masters 1 came out, and then we just saw like the people that were picking up packs and then they're getting cards and they're like, oh, maybe I'll play Modern, Modern, and then they have to get an entire deck to go along with the cards that they pulled from Modern Masters packs. But anyway, if we do see another influx, the cards went up almost double in value. Some of the cards even went even more than double in value after Modern Masters 2 came out. So you can expect another, at least I would say, 25 to 50% increase in these non-reprinted cards. So let's just start off that list. I'm going to start off with the honorable mention, and I've talked about this in another video. It's Inkmoth Nexus. Inkmoth Nexus is now hovering around $25. It is probably in this list the most played card, but I do think that it's highly suspect to being reprinted in an event deck or some other way. They've got to. If they don't, though, Inkmoth Nexus could spike even more. Inkmoth Nexus is used in both the popular decks of Affinity and Infect. In the last Pro Tour, we saw a ton. The whole entire Pantheon team, I believe, was on Infect. I know Finkel was on Infect and a lot of other people. And it did pretty decent. I think there was some in the top 16. And Noble Hierarch is being reprinted, so that means that the bug, or even just the bug, or just green-blue Infect is going to be a lot more accessible now that Noble Hierarch is going to get a reprint and cause the value of that card to drop. But now with Inkmoth, it's kind of switching places with Noble Hierarch. So now once Inkmoth Nexuses were pretty cheap, $7-8 to get into, now they're going to be the expensive card when building a Infect deck. Another good thing about Infect is a lot of the key cards in Infect are being reprinted in Modern Masters 2, like the Vines of Vastwood, which was hovering around $3 a piece. Just these little like commons, uncommons that are actually a lot more expensive than you'd think. So the whole value of the Infect deck is going to drop immensely, but Inkmoth Nexus is going to be that key card that you now need to pick up. Now Affinity, same thing. A lot of the Affinities are getting a reprint. We're seeing Blinkmoth Nexus get a reprint, as well as some of the staple cards out of like Cranial Plating is getting a reprint out of Modern Masters. So again, this is a 4 of in Affinity, so it might actually be a smart. I think that Inkmoth Nexus will, when the dust settles, like it already did have its huge jump. It when people figured out that between what was it? Is it Boilerworks and whatever the Golgari Rot Farm, that Inkmoth Nexus needed to be in that position if it was going to be reprinted, and when it wasn't, then the price has shot up from $11 to $25 almost overnight. So I don't know if Inkmoth has that much room to grow after that. It was a 2 of an event deck that was highly sold. It was played very heavily in Standard back then, and when cards are on people's radar, they don't tend to just discard them. What happens, how a huge price increase happens, is the card that never saw any play all of a sudden sees play. Inkmoth isn't that. I mean, a lot of people that have played Infect and Affinity have already got their playsets of Inkmoth Nexuses, and again, it's just based upon the only growth that this has is going to be if we have a huge influx of new players. So that's my honorable mention. $25, I can easily see it going up to $30, but I think that we've already missed the mark on the price increase. I am currently selling my copies at $28 on TCG Player, so all 8 of my 2 playsets that are left. I used to have so many playsets of these. I'm kicking myself for not holding on to them. But when I looked at Inkmoth Nexus, I really thought that they were going to reprint this card, and therefore I got out of them and tried to make what profit I could. All right, on to number 10. On to number 10 is a card that was actually printed in Modern Masters 1, which is sort of Light and Shadow, but it's hovering around the $25 mark. It sees play every now and again in Modern. It does see some play in Legacy, in the Stoneforge Mystic decks, Death and Taxes decks. Every once in a while, put them in there. And it sees a ton of casual play. So around the $25 mark, it was a mythic out of Modern Masters 2. I'm gonna say this cards continue to follow its trajectory and go up a good 10% per month, I think is what it is. So pretty soon you're going to see this card around $30 to $40. Within a year, I think it'll be around 40. So Sword of Light and Shadow, barring any sort of reprint, is going to be a great card as a pickup. It's a very, very powerful card. It is popular with competitive players. It's popular with casual players. It's popular with commander players, especially I'm surprised this card hasn't even gone up more, because of the white commander decks was all around the equipments, and this was a strict upgrade to some of the cards in there, and that's the first thing when people pick up like a commander deck, they're looking for easy upgrades, and Sword of Light and Shadow is definitely one of those. So I think $25 is a bargain, even though it doesn't currently see much play in Modern. It is sometimes a sideboard card, and you never know when a deck's going to come out that's actually going to utilize the Sword of Light and Shadow. NumberNine is an extremely heavily played card in Modern. Even though its partner in crime was banned a long time ago, Grove of the Burnwillows is played in Red Green Tron, and it's sitting around $31. And it has been printed in a From the Vault's Realms, I believe, but other than that, it's just got that one reprint, which was a very, 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 very limited. All the From the Vaults are extremely limited, and so at $31, this is going to continue to increase as long as Tron is popular, and Tron is becoming a lot more popular. It's better positioned than it's been in a while, even though I think it's poorly positioned in the metagame, but that's not going to stop the Tron players from playing it. A lot of people love Tron. It's a way to cheat out cards very, very early. And then just another card that wasn't reprinted but does not make the list on here is Wormcoil Engine, which did just see a commander reprint in the red commander deck. But I do think that Grove of the Burnwillows has a lot of room to grow up to, I would say, around the $40 mark. So you'll see a $10 increase after the smoke settles with Grove of the Burnwillows. NumberEight, and this one, I could put all the lands in here, but this is the most expensive one, is Twilight Mire. This is used in the black-green shell, especially the black-green shell that doesn't splash another color. But even some of the Jund and Junk use Twilight Mire. It's an easy way to fix your lands, and it's sitting at $31. Again, this comes from a set that wasn't highly opened, and if black-green becomes the go-to, usually right now black-green itself doesn't see a lot of play, because you might as well splash a color. If you splash red, you get Lightning Bolt and Huntmaster of the Fells and Olivia and Terminate. If you splash white, you get the insanely overpowerful card in Siege Rhino. So I can see that the black-green shells are going to want to splash. So Twilight Mire in that aspect might only see a few copies in each one of those decks, if any at all, but it is an option, and it is a commander staple in any sort of black-green commander, of course, and tiny leaders, etc., etc. So Twilight Mire, again, will follow its trajectory and continue to increase in value as time goes on. NumberSeven is more of a legacy card. I haven't really seen it much in Modern, which is kind of a shame, because it's such an awesome card, which is Crucible of Worlds. It's sitting at $32 right now. Again, it's used in a few legacy decks to replay Wastelands over and over and over and over again and just lock your opponent out. And so its demand has really been pushed by casual and legacy, not really Modern. So it's going to continue to increase in price, and it might go up crazy, because now that people see that it's not being reprinted in Modern Masters, they're going to worry about the price of this card and pick up as many as possible. Again, this is a legacy. This is a staple in Legacy. It's highly played in Legacy. So $32 is a bargain. If you need Crucible of Worlds for your Legacy deck or Commander deck, I highly suggest you pick them up, as they have nowhere to go but up. NumberSix is used in... There's a few decks that use Horizon Canopy. It's a pretty unique ability, as it does a damage to you, but you can sack it to draw a card. I know that Boggles used it pretty heavily. One of the problems with Boggles is when you get land flooded, and you don't need a lot of lands in Boggles. 2 to 3 lands is very, very sufficient. So, and then I've also seen Horizon Canopy in Collected Company. It's the new pod. They tried, instead of using Birthing Pod to assemble the combo, they're using Collected Company, and Canopy is definitely an option in that. Usually they are only a 3-color deck, and this fixes their colors and allows them to sack to draw a card. So Canopy can easily See a lot more play in that shell. Any sort of green-white, like Hate Bears, I believe uses Horizon Canopy. So it is a heavily played card in Modern, and it is not seeing a reprint. So it is at $35. Again, all these cards are going to continue to go up. I highly suggest you pick up Horizon Canopies if you need them, as I see a 10% increase immediately, and then it'll follow that trajectory for months to come. NumberFive is a card I do not, again, I repeat, do not suggest you pick this up. It's Linvala, Keeper of Silence. The reason being, I think this is going to be the key card in the From the Vault Angels. That's the only reasoning I can see that it did not see a reprint in Modern Masters 2. It's going to be kind of their poster child for to sell that From the Vault's Angels, as it is sitting at $36. So it might see a price increase up to $40. It's also not seeing a lot of play. In Modern, it was a pod staple to pod into to shut down like Splinter Twin and shut down a few other decks that utilize activating abilities of creatures. So it's been, I think it has been dropping as of late. I think it was almost up to 50 at one point. But Linvala is definitely, in my opinion, going to be a reprint in the From the Vault Angels, which is coming out pretty soon. It's the next From the Vault that's coming out. So again, it might see a little bit of a bump, but it's going to drop insanely low. They've increased the amount of From the Vaults they've been releasing lately. Like the From the Vaults Annihilation, you could actually get for under MSRP easily on eBay. Some From the Vaults in the past have gone for way more than MSRP as the demand has outstripped the supply, and they've gone crazy. Like From the Vaults 20, for example, or From the Vaults Realms. Those two especially were a lot higher than MSRP. But the last few From the Vaults have been pretty low in comparison. Number 4 was Azusa Lost But Seeking. It is around $38. This card was in the deck it spiked like crazy because it's in the Amulet of Vigor Titan Bloom deck, and it is not seeing a reprint. I think that the deck gained popularity too quickly when they started including a lot of cards from the Modern Masters, or from Modern, that was popular at the time. I don't think Titan Bloom was really on the horizon. So Azusa is sitting at $38. It can only go up in value. There's been a lot of speculation that Summer Bloom is going to be banned, and if that's the case, then Azusa might actually go down. I still think the deck is functioning, but at $38, if you need to pick up a Titan Bloom card, you better pick this card up right now, because it only has anywhere to go but up. It was in a very, very unpopular set in a Kamigawa block that a lot of people actually quit Magic over, and just was dismal sales. So definitely go pick up the Azusa if you're planning on building Titan Bloom. But remember, friends don't let friends play Titan Bloom. Number 3, again, is another card that I think is a great upgrade. Sees a lot of play in Legacy, not so much in Modern, but every once in a while it's a nice little sideboard choice in Delver and a few other decks. It's sort of Fire and Ice. It's sitting at $45. It's been increasing steadily for the past few months now. And it was initially reprinted again in Modern Masters 1. It was one of the chase cards. So, and then every one of those white commander decks absolutely wants the Sword of Fire and Ice. It's the most powerful sword by far. And then I guess we could include it as more honorable mentions. The other swords were not reprinted from the Sword of Fire of, the Sword of War and Peace and Sword of Feast and Famine. Even though Feast and Famine did just see a reprint in an event deck not too long ago. So Sword of Fire and Ice will continue to go up. I don't see it reprinted anytime soon in any sort of. They could put it in like a commander deck coming up, but those usually don't release until the fall or winter. And you're definitely pretty safe with Sword of Fire and Ice to increase that fit to the $52 range. Again, I'm not the biggest fan of picking up Mythics, because like a $45 to a $60 increase, it looks like a lot. That's $15 of an increase. But it's also percentage-wise not that extreme when you're comparing it to some rares that go from like $5 to $12. That's a lot better of an increase than $45 to $60. So keep that in mind. Number 2, which I'm sure these might go crazy, especially the undervalued one. I clumped them all into an entire package. This is the Zendikar Fetch Lands. They are sitting at the low at $20 for I think it's the black-white one. This is the cheapest one. And then the Scalding Tarn is around $50 right now. The reason I don't think they reprinted the Zendikar Fetch Lands is I don't think that they're going to be in the first block of, I think, Battle of Zendikar. This is my own speculation. I have no evidence to back this up. I think the Battle for Zendikar is going to be such a pivotal historical piece in Magic the Gathering that it's going to take 2 blocks to settle it. So the first one, we're going to be there for a block. In fact, they say they want to streamline the storyline more instead of just jumping around from plane to plane to plane. See, like, Theros had very little to do with New Phyrexia or Innistrad or even Ravnica. We've had like these stories within, like, going on that do not have a lot of interaction with each other. They try to tie them together a little bit, but for the most part, they haven't had much of a streamlined story, and they have said they want to have more of a streamlined story, like, we're going to go here and it's going to affect directly the next block, which is going to affect directly the storyline of the next block, and, you know, really tie everything together. So I really think the Battle for Zendikar is going to be a more than one block's story, at least being on Zendikar. And I don't think they want all the fetch lands in the same standard environment at the same time. So therefore, I think they're going to not have fetch lands in this Battle for Zendikar block, but then the following block after that, the Zendikar fetch lands will be reprinted, and that is going to allow them to increase like crazy in price. The thing is that's keeping them back is we're so spoiled right now in Modern. We have access to all of the fetch lands, and even if you are a double colored deck like Boros Burn, for example, you can still easily use the Wooded Foothills, and all you need to do is just get 1 Sacred Foundry. That's all you need to get. In Boros Burn, you don't have a basic plains, so an Arid Mesa isn't much better than a Wooded Foothills, for example. So that's going to keep the prices down because it's going to slow demand, because people aren't going to be... It's just a small upgrade to have that incredibly fixing ability, I guess, to go get that one of planes that you might want to put in your deck. So keep that in mind. In 3-color decks, it gets a little bit easier, because now you definitely have access to the allied colors. You can go get the other allied color. If you make a 3-color deck, there's got to be allied colored. So, for example, your Grixis, you can run both the blue-black and the red-black fetch land, and then just one of each of the shock lands, and that'll be very sufficient. So you don't need a Scalding Tarn. There's no point to it. Scalding Tarn, though, is the one that is been going up, because there's a lot of blue-red decks that want to go get basic lands, that don't want to go get fetch lands, and it's their really Scalding Tarn is their only option. They can't use Wooded Foothills. They can't use Arid Mesas. They can't use Polluted Deltas, because it's just not as efficient. All they can do is go get their Shockland, which can then be kind of shut down by Blood Moon. So besides, I would say, Scalding Tarn into a bit of a... For Infect, a little bit for the... I'm thinking Breeding Pool, whatever the green-blue one is, that those have the most ability to go up, because they really are necessary for those decks to be highly efficient to kind of avoid that Blood Moon. But a lot of the UWRs, though, prefer to go get a blue or a white, for example. So again, they don't even need Scalding Tarn. They can just go grab their basic white or basic blue from the Flooded Strand. So I think the Zendikar fetch lands will continue to go up for a while, but they are definitely on the horizon to be reprinted. The last card, the last but not least, it sees very little play every once in a while in a few decks here, but is a casual favorite, and I just don't know why they refuse to reprint this. My only thing is that Wizards is really weird with its image, and a card like Damnation has a negative connotation. In the United States, that's considered a dirty word, and anything that uses the word damn is a cuss word, a swear word, and I don't know if that's one of the reasons why they're moving away from Damnation, why they haven't just reprinted it in another name. I don't think they want a 4-mana Wrath, though, in black and standard, and it's just kind of weird. We thought that we'd see Damnation in Theros, then we thought we'd see it in Khans of Tarkir, because everyone was damned without Ugin. And so there's been all this speculation forever, and then everyone's like, Modern Masters has to be printed. Well, it's not. So it's going to continue to skyrocket in price. That's just my own theory, my own speculation, is that Magic PR is holding back Damnation from being reprinted. So casual, a little bit in competitive as far as Modern. There's some decks that use Damnation every once in a while. I think Esper Mentor does use it, but they have access to like Wrath of God and Supreme Verdict. But some of them more that are, I think maybe Grixis Control or Sultai Control might use it, but I haven't seen those decks in a while. So it is sitting around $45, making it the most expensive card next to Scalding Tarn that is not being reprinted in Modern Masters. So use this information. Most of these are mythics or extremely rare rares. What I mean by rare rares is they were printed a long time ago and there's actually very few copies of them. If you compare it to like a Theros Mythic, there's actually less rares from some of these older sets. So if you need these cards, I highly suggest you pick them up now. If not, I mean, they are definitely going to be on the bullseye to be reprinted in other, not necessarily like Modern Master sets, but maybe reprints in Standard or just side sets like the From the Vaults, like the event decks, like all those, etc., etc., etc. Definitely check these out. There's been a lot of other... Go check the Modern Masters too. There's been a lot of highly valued cards that have been reprinted. So they did a good job. It's definitely worth its value. There's a lot of mythics that have been... mythics and rares that were incredibly expensive that have been reprinted. Anyway, that's the list. This has been Kevin with RogueDeckBuilder.com. Thanks for watching.